Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. It's that time. I'm going to do our Week 6 college football top 25 reaction to every single outcome for all of our top 25 games. We're going to break them all down and just give the instant analysis on what happened this weekend. It was a crazy one. There were some massive upsets. There was top 10 upsets, top 25 upsets overall. Some teams with very lofty expectations this season, they have come crashing down to earth. We're going to go over every single game, 1 through 25. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, drop them below. Let me know what your initial thoughts are on everything that happened this weekend. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out that pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. Let's get right into it. The very first game you see, there was actually one of our Friday night games. This was a very late one. If you stayed up late, I'm pretty sure this game started at 10:30. I was up really late watching it. Friday, October 3rd, number 23 BYU Cougars beating West Virginia 38-24. BYU did give up some points here, but what you have to remember, they had Retzlaff transfer right out of this team the week before the season started. Bachmeier comes in, had never started before. He has been going off the entire season, 18-25. 351 yards, 1 touchdown. Martin on the ground, 21 carries for 90 yards. Roberts, 4 receptions for 161 yards. That's 4.25 yards every single reception. Gotta love this overall great team, great offense. They won 10 games last season. A lot of people are sleeping on the Cougars. If they can continue this momentum, they're undefeated right now. Out of the Big 12. Big 12 is actually a pretty tough conference because they're probably going to cannibalize one another. They don't have a elite team, maybe Texas Tech, but they're a very deep conference in the middle, a lot of evenly matched teams. The very next one we have, kicking things off Saturday, we had number 1, the Ohio State Buckeyes, doing what Ohio State does, beating the living crap out of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They won this one 42-3. Minnesota's not a pushover. PJ Fleck's team, they don't have the best offense. They have a serviceable offense, but they always have a top 20 defense. Very physical team. Love to run the ball, but it's the Buckeyes' defense is just so suffocating. They had the number 1 defense last season. They have the number 1 defense again. Coming into this game, only giving up 5.7 points per game, and they gave up 3 this game. So obviously that defensive number, that overall points per game stat is going to be coming down. They are elite. The best defensive player in the country, it is either Ruben Bain or it's Caleb Downs, and they have Jeremiah Smith. Sayin getting more and more comfortable every single game. 23 of 27, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. They completely dominate here. They have the best wide receiver room in the country. Smith, Innis, Tate 9 receptions for 183 yards. They are so deep. There's nothing here that's going to move them out of that number 1 spot. We had number 2 Oregon. They were on the bye week this week. We had number 3 Miami beating Florida State. So that's 3 versus 18. They won 28-22. That final score, if you did not get to watch this game, is not full justification into actually what happened. Miami completely dominated this game. Up to the third quarter, they were up 28-3. They gave up 19 in the fourth quarter. Complete letdown fourth quarter. They let off the gas immensely. The offense, all they were doing every single possession, run it 3 times, punt it. That was not the way that I want to see Miami finish the game, but either way, they held on. They scored just enough prior to that fourth quarter starting to where they could still win it. They should have probably won this game like a 35-38-10, letting off the gas. They stopped playing man. They were only playing zone coverage the whole fourth quarter, giving them first downs for some reason. Florida State actually fought their way back in here, but Miami, they might have the most physical defense in the nation. Top 3 overall defense talent-wise. Top 3 overall well-rounded offense. That means position players. Carson Beck, great game, 4 touchdowns, no picks, a 84% completion percentage. They have a great run game, the best offensive line in the country. They continue to make a very strong case to potentially, in some people's bowl, be the number 1 team. Then the next game we had Oklahoma 44-0 versus Penn State 1-4. They completely dominated that game. A lot of people don't think they should be number 5. They are 5-0 out of the SEC. Red River rivalry coming up. They did all of this without John Mateer, who for some people was the Heisman frontrunner. Hawkins Jr. comes in 14-24. There was nothing that he really needed to do. They were able to dominate. What I said this game was I wanted to see the Sooners establish a consistent run game. Blaylock, 15 carries for 78. That's not good enough, but Texas will go into the Red rivalry at least limping because they lost to Florida, but we'll get to that later. Oklahoma continuing to stay hot. Brent Venables, this defense, one of the best defenses in the nation for back-to-back seasons. Then after that, we had number 6, the Texas A&M Aggies, beating 4-2 Mississippi State. The Aggies here, 5-0, undefeated. They won this one 31-9. It was looking pretty questionable there up to the very end of the first half. They didn't score their first touchdown to 1 minute left in the second quarter. They were up 7-3 at halftime. Then they completely dominated the second half. Reed, Reed has been going off passing the ball this season. This game, 13-23, 180. The passing game just wasn't there, but they were able to consistently run the ball. Moss, Owens the second, 21 carries for 142 yards, and Craver continues to cement himself as one of the best all-around wide receivers in the entire nation. 6 receptions for 80 yards, and that Aggies defense flexed its muscle here because Mississippi State, unlike years previous, this was not a pushover. They've already beaten ranked Arizona State. They almost beat Tennessee last week. They were upset-minded here, but the Aggies did set them straight at College Station. And then how about this game? I said we had some upsets. Number 7, Penn State, 3-2, going down to 1-4 UCLA. They lost it 42-37. What an embarrassment. They were like 42, 45-point favorites in this game. UCLA, up to this game, had not led in any single game this entire season. They hadn't led for 1 second this year. Right out the gate, they were beating the crap out of Penn State. I don't even know where to begin to say what went wrong for Penn State. Franklin, though, catching a lot of flack here. The entire coaching staff. Knowles might be the best defensive mind in the nation. He's definitely paid like it. He's the number 1 paid coordinator in the entire country. The defense looked awful. Coming off that loss to Oregon, you expected them to rebound here and take revenge out on the Bruins. It completely went the opposite way. Nico Imaliava, 4 passing touchdowns. That guy stunk the entire season. The Bruins, they went off with their entire coaching staff fired. They still pulled off the win here at home. Drew Aller, very questionable quarterback. He's been questionable his whole career. This guy was a 5-star coming out of a high school. Some people had him ranked as a number 1st-round quarterback. Obviously, all of that has probably subsided yet. One of the best 1-2 running back combos in the nation. Allen, Singleton, they could not run the ball versus the Bruins. Nico had 4 touchdowns to the year. He had 128 yards rushing. What an embarrassment for Penn State. I don't know what to say here because they still have to play top 10 Indiana. They still have to play the Buckeyes. They have no room for error. They're 3-2, probably now not going to make the playoffs because they're at least going to lose one of those games, and you will not make the playoffs as a 9-3 team. Last year showed us that. The very next game, number 9, Texas, another top 10 upset, going to, well, actually, yeah, they went to Gainesville. They lost to 2-3 Florida, 29-21. Florida comes in here averaging like 21 points a game. They beat Texas. Texas was supposed to at least have a good defense. They definitely did not look like they had a good defense. They've played 2 Power 4 teams. They've lost to both of them so far this season. Steve Sarkisian, a lot of question marks here, but all those question marks stem around that offensive line, which was not playing well, and Arch Manning, who has consistently this entire year not looked like a serviceable quarterback. He doesn't look like he would start at a lot of Power 4 teams. Yes, he put up some garbage time numbers, but DJ Lagway definitely outplayed him. This is the DJ Lagway everybody expected to see when the season started. But I said in my upset alerts video, watch out for Florida. They always rally around Billy Napier. It's the same story every single season. You know they had a top 20 defense. They were going to bring it defensively. They did bring it. They got 2 interceptions from Arch Manning, and he looked completely lost back there. Happy feet. He locks on to his first read, and the safeties, the corners, everybody can read his eyes. It's very obvious just watching the game who the gameplay is for. And people keep saying young guy, young quarterback. This is his 3rd year at Texas in the same scheme with the same offensive coordinator. And Texas, yes, they don't have the most difficult SEC schedule, but I would say just like Penn State, those playoff chances, they're probably out at this point. Next one, we had number 16, Vanderbilt, 5-1 visiting. Number 10, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Vandy kept this one close. It looked like they might be able to pull off the upset back-to-back seasons, but Bama showed up second half, shut them out second half, owned it. Ty Simpson continues to show since that week 1 loss to Florida State, they've been rolling. He looks like potentially, he might even be the Heisman frontrunner right now. He went 23 of 31, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. Probably tried to keep them in this game. It wasn't enough. And I said the entire week, Alabama has to run the ball. They're only running for 120 yards per game. That's not going to be good enough in the SEC down the stretch. Miller shows up, 22 carries, 136 yards, and 1 touchdown. They were able to run the ball. Grubbs is back. That is Kalen DeBoer's guy. That's the offense he wants to run, the deep vertical passing game. They have Williams. They have a very deep wide receiver room. Bernard, Williams, that's all you need. And Ty Simpson slinging it down the field. This is the offense DeBoer wants. They are rolling right now. Number 11, Texas Tech, 5-0, the top-rated Big 12 team beating Houston, who was in here 4-0, undefeated Fritz, very good coach, very disciplined coach. They were coming in here with a sound offense, sound defense. Texas Tech, they just put it on them. They put the wood on their butt. 35-11 dominating. Morton, Hammond, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Texas Tech, top 10 offense, top 15 defense in the nation, only giving up 10.5 points per game. They gave up 11 today. Texas Tech has a good defense. Texas Tech is owning the line of scrimmage, both lines of scrimmages. Props to them. Props to this team. Number one transfer portal class. They did everything. Morton, 345 yards passing. Williams, 107 yards on the ground. Douglas, 114 yards receiving. This is a well-rounded team. I would not want to play this team right now, and they have talent at the skill positions and in the trenches. Fun thing to watch. Next game, we had number 12, Georgia, putting a shellacking on Kentucky. You knew that Georgia was going to be upset-minded. They had that game versus Bama, but Kirby Smart, that's his kryptonite. They rebounded here, 35-14 win. Kentucky usually actually plays Georgia very competitively. It was close for maybe the first possession, first minute. Georgia shellacked them. They own this game. Stockton, Bowens, Bell, Young. They have too many weapons, and the defense showed up creating a lot of turnovers. After that, we had Cincinnati pulling off the upset versus Iowa State. Iowa State 14-0. Coming into this game 5-0. They're now 5-1. They lost 38-30. Cincinnati, props to them, 4-1. They might be ranked after this week. Beck, third year with this team. He had a decent game, but Iowa State, they were behind the entire game. They fought their way back, almost tied it. Not enough to get the win, but it shouldn't have never been that close anyways. They're definitely going to be dropping in the polls, but they will stay ranked. And it's interesting to note, Vegas definitely called this one. They had Cincinnati 1.5-point favorites here versus the number 14 team. They called it, and they hit it. Props to them. Next game, number 20 Michigan beating 2 and 3 Wisconsin Badgers, 24-10. It is safe to say the seat is very hot right now for Luke Fickell. The offense since he's been there has been atrocious. Wisconsin used to be top 10 elite defense, top 10 running game, just lining up in the eye, running it down your throat, controlling time of possession. They can't do either of those things right now. Michigan beat this team. This game was never in doubt. Should have probably been an even bigger blowout. But Michigan dropped a lot of wide open passes. Bryce Young, a true freshman, 19-28, 270 yards, continues to impress. Haynes, this is his fourth or fifth game over 100 yards running. He had 117 yards. Michigan, they need some help at the skill positions. Sharon Moorback, great defense. They control time of possession. They run and they do play action. That's what they do. And they continue to dictate the pace for every single game they're in. And then getting into our next matchup here, Boise State 3-2 going down to number 21 Notre Dame 3-2, 28-7. How about the Notre Dame defense? That was the biggest knock on them through the first 3 weeks was the defense. They had the number 3 defense last season. Brought back a lot of players on paper. Great defensive front seven. They were supposed to have the number 1 secondary in the country. First 3 games, every single game was a shootout, high-scoring game. They rebound last week with Purdue. They shut that garbage down. They shut down Boise State. The defense controlled this game. They have a top 10 offense right now in the nation. C.J. Carr slinging it up and down the field. Love, Pierce, Grayson, Faison. There's so many weapons. Great House and company. They have weapons at every single position. Good veteran offensive line. But the offense wasn't what controlled this game. The defense showed up. They controlled the pace. 4 interceptions from Matson, secondary playing well. This Notre Dame team starting out the season 0-2, but they lost to 2 top 5, top 6 teams. Very difficult schedule to start the season. They're on a roll right now, 3-game winning streak. Not a team you want to play here. I think, yes, they showed up for this game. They won it. Their eyes, though, are on their next matchup versus the USC Trojans. They're saving their best for them. That's going to be a fun game. That is going to be 2 of the best offenses in the nation facing off. The very next game, number 22, the Fighting Illini, 5-1 on the road versus 2-3 Purdue. Purdue actually a very respectable offense. They won 43-27. Massive first half lead here. Kind of let off the gas second half, but still a very convincing win. Little concerned about the Fighting Illini defense. Their defense is not bad. It's, I'd say, average to maybe very slightly above average. Not good enough to fully compete in the Big Ten. They're giving up a little too many points. Luke Altmaier, though, third season with the team in this scheme, 19-22, 390 yards. Valentine on the ground, 95 yards. And how about Beatty? 186 receiving yards on 5 receptions. This is Brett Bielema's team. They're disciplined. They're physical. They control the line of scrimmage. Yes, they lost that one game where they got curb stomped by the Hoosiers, but they are definitely back 5-1 right now, showing the depth of the Big Ten. And our final game, number 24 Virginia, barely pulling off the win here versus 4-1 Louisville. Louisville, not a bad team by any means. Jeff Brom, very talented coach, always coaches to the skill set on his team. He gets the most out of his players. But Virginia, after coming up that win versus Clemson. A lot of people were expecting a little bit of a letdown. They gave everything that game. Sometimes when you win a big game that you were a massive underdog in, you get upset the very next game. Virginia was able to avoid that. Chandler Morris, great game last week. Great game this week. Won in the game. Miller Moss and him, they were dueling it back and forth. Fun game to watch. Louisville was like 4 or 5 point favorites in this game as the unranked team. Both these teams fighting it out to see who was going to be in the top 25, because if Louisville would have won this one, they'd have been 5-0 undefeated. They'd have jumped the top 25, but Virginia won it 5-1. They continue to show they've beaten Florida State. They've beaten a solid Louisville team. Maybe the Cavaliers have arrived, and they're one of those underdogs to potentially be competing in the ACC. Guys, that's just a quick instant reaction to all of our Friday and Saturday games for the top 25 for college football. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel in the comments section. Let me know what you think about these games. Was there any surprises? What are your thoughts on the matchups? If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out that pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. Of course, as always, thank you guys for watching. We'll have our reaction to the top 25 probably coming out tomorrow morning. Thanks.